one is Unforgiving, Unrelenting.
Max Barr in Lansing with two of the members of Cardiac Arrest from Chicago. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and your role in the band.
I'm Adam Scott. I am the guitarist and lead vocalist, and been doing the band since 1997. I would say officially, or unofficially I should say, but yeah, it's been a long run.
Awesome.
Tom Neisner, rhythm guitarist, sometimes lead, sometimes vocals. And I've been in Cardiac since '06.
Okay. So congratulations on the release of A Parallel Dimension of Despair. It is an absolute ripper of an album.
Thank you.
It's really great.
Thanks.
In general, how's it being received so far?
Right now, I'd have to say, you know, everything as far as fans and most press alike, it's been doing really good. Been seeing a lot of great response from a lot of people that have been long-time fans of the band and made some new fans along the way. And one thing too I've noticed too, it's been going over pretty well overseas as far as, you know, over in Europe, because the label that recently put it out on CD, Memento Mori, is out of Spain, and they've been getting a lot of good influx of that too.
Excellent.
Some people don't like it.
Yeah.
I read a couple reviews. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. Fuck them.
The angry metal guy was angry.
He's always angry.
Yeah.
Tell me about the songwriting process for this album. I think I read that it's a little different every time for you guys, but how'd that work this time?
Well, pretty much, overall it works pretty much just like how everything else goes, is just, you know, an idea forms and sometimes it goes from there, and hopefully, you know, everyone gets their input in when a certain idea is presented. And if not, sometimes if it doesn't go anywhere, it may sit on the shelf and maybe arrive on another release somewhere down the road. I mean, it's been really no different.
Yeah, we play, you know, we practice once a week. And, you know, if we don't have, we're not super active show-wise, so, you know, if we don't have a show coming up, you know, we're writing, you know, and it comes from ideas. Adam works differently than me, where he usually has stuff where I come up with stuff on the fly, and if it sticks, it sticks. If it don't, then...
Okay. You said sometimes songs were worked on prior releases didn't make the cut, and then they show back up.
Yeah, that's happened.
On this one?
Good question.
That's a good question. I can't even think back. It's been so many...
Stumped us.
Already enough. You kind of lose track after a certain amount of albums,
okay.
But yeah, I mean, there are times from, like, say, Morgue Mutilations, we've had, you know, certain songs like, okay, maybe this isn't quite working out the way we want it to. Then, who knows, it might have ended up on, say, 2 albums later on Haven for the Insane, for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good case in point right there.
All right. Any favorite tracks on this new one?
There's definitely a handful, I would say. Probably one of them, for me personally, It Takes Form.
Okay.
It's a good fist-banging, ass-kicking tune.
Oh, Unforgiving.
Unforgiving.
Unrelenting. That's our Terrorizer tune.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the ones on this where it was like, it seemed like everybody had, you know, something to contribute on this album too. Where it was like, okay, like one of those things where it's like, okay, I might have an idea, and then okay, it goes down to this and that, and then bam, we have a fucking song. Now it's just a matter of tightening the screws, and hey, it's there. It's just a matter of, you know, practicing and getting it fucking tight, you know.
Awesome. So for me, I've listened a handful of times now. Since I got the promo, I think my 2 favorites right now are When Murder is Justified and This Dark Domain. Is there any particular inspiration for either of those, lyrically
For
or
when
thematically?
murder is justified. Well, I remember when I remember having like one of the opening riff of that. I mean, I've had that, I don't know, maybe for a year. I mean, a lot of times I hold on to riffs for a long fucking time, and either they just don't come out whenever I want them to, or it's just, you know. But yeah, lyrically, it's just one of those songs. It's just like, just one of those venting releases of fucking, you know, fuck everything, fuck getting fucked over day after day, and it's just a simple fuck you to society is all it is. And this Dark Domain, lyrically, that was the one that our bass player David wrote. Like, he had the main riff for that, and it just, you know, we just cycled that one riff. It almost kind of sounded, in a way, it was like, you know, a Black Sabbath doomy type of thing, which definitely, you know, is a nice little twist and turn. Lyrically, it came from, the inspiration came from an old Coffin Joe movie. Like, it was like, yeah, a good Brazilian horror legend. It was from his movie The Strange World of Coffin Joe. Was one of those compilation type of movies, kind of like a Creep Show, Black Sabbath type of things. I forgot what it was in. I remember it was something about, you know, instinct prevailing over love. And basically, it was in that inspiration. And it was just, I remember the subject being very fucking gruesome and very fucking bizarre with that, as most of Coffin Joe's fucking movies are. But this one, it was just like, I had to fucking write some sort of lyrics based on this shit, because it's too fucking cool. And the doominess of this Dark Domain, I think, fit very well with it.
Sure. Yeah, for me, both those songs are kind of slow burners compared to the rest of the album. And I don't know if this is even an answerable question, but do you have any insight into how you, on those songs, how you successfully created that oppressive atmosphere that, I mean, it's just...
Well, we just play it, you know. It's like, a lot of our stuff kind of comes from, you know, you can't, you know, writing songs, you don't want to think about them too much. You know if they're going to work or if they're not, you know. And, yeah, can you add to it? Maybe, but should you? You know,
at times,
you know, it just different headspaces, and you know, we took time with this album. You know, normally we're releasing every 2 years, and you know, for many reasons. I mean, it was just like, you know, okay, we didn't hit the 2-year mark. Kind of waited. We did the promo. You know, we wanted to shop a little bit, see what was out there. You know, and you know, we took some time and you know, worked on the songs for quite a while. But with that song, that one came, if I remember right, it came pretty natural. Or it was like we kind of knew it was like when we got done playing it, jamming it, and then the next week, the week after, we kind of figured out, well, shit, I think this one's done. You know. So it just felt right.
Yeah.
It's the best way I could describe it.
I can see that. It feels like that on the album.
Cool.
Oh, awesome. Glad to know that, for sure. Glad to hear that.
One more song I wanted to ask about, Professional Victim.
Professional Victim.
From the lyrics that I was able to catch.
Yeah.
Is this a response to some of the stuff that's going on with bands having tours canceled? And...
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Partially, yes.
Not just the bands, but just society in general. I mean,
just
originally, we had a promo that we put out. It was really limited. But you know, we recorded 3 songs, or we recorded 5 songs, but 3 we put out. And originally the song was called SJW.
Okay.
And you know, when we titled it, that term wasn't, and when we did the song, that term wasn't out there as it is now.
Sure.
So, you know, now everybody just uses that term, social justice warrior.
It's become
so
a common theme.
we changed. It's the same song. We just changed the title.
Okay.
A Professional Victim, and it's just not about bands. It's society in general. Everybody's so fucking offended by everything.
Everybody's whining about every little fucking thing that they shouldn't even be whining about.
Right.
It's turned into a thin-skinned culture, it seems.
Yep. So yeah, that's you nailed it. I mean, And the band stuff, I mean, that's bullshit. It's fucking metal. It's supposed to be rebellious. It's supposed to be fucking offensive. It's, you know.
That's the whole basis of, I mean, when you look at history, I mean, that's how rock and roll was.
Yeah.
Rock and roll was rebellion. I mean, your parents didn't want, our parents' parents didn't want them listening to, say, Elvis or the Beatles or anything because, oh, they did a certain thing or because Elvis had a certain swagger or like, I remember hearing from my parents back in the day when watching Elvis or whatever, he'd be like in the fucking TV, it'd be like this on the TV screen because they wanted to, you know, censor his dance movements because that's gonna, you know...
Can't shake your hips, it's too sexual.
So are there lines that shouldn't be crossed, or is it anything goes in the world of metal?
That's a 50-50 crapshoot, I think, on that one. I mean, yeah, maybe certain lines shouldn't be crossed or should. It's a tough one. I wouldn't say it's a completely answerable question, but
I mean, if you know, people have their beliefs and whatever, but do you need to go on Facebook every day and say that? And, you know, sometimes things are just better unsaid. You know, you don't. I'm kind of one of these. You know, I'm really outspoken, but I'm not going to get on Facebook and, you know, sometimes say things are a lot better unsaid. Or you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, again, it's still metal, and, you know, people should not be, like, protesting everything, or, you know, gigs should not be getting shut down, and
because someone doesn't like a certain band because they did
something
like it, 10 years ago.
If you don't like it, don't go. You know,
It's
or
the
you know, it was the same thing where I'm anti-censorship, but you know, at fucking TV, if you don't want to watch it, change the channel. I mean, it's something my parents always told me. Oh, I don't want you watching that. We're changing the channel. Yeah, but we don't have to fucking get every government official and protest.
It's out of hand. That's all there is to it.
Let's go back to the album. Tell me about the cover art.
Cover art.
How does it fit the album? What do you guys think?
Juanjo, the guy who did it, his name is Juanjo Castellano. He's very... it's a very different approach than what... I don't want to say different. I shouldn't say very different, but it's definitely a different artist than what we went with for the last 5 albums. Part of it was kind of by design. One, I've talked to him many times before. He's wanted to work with us, and it just came down to the right time. And yeah, I mean, I liked what other stuff he's done from other bands. He's done a lot of good European bands and some other bands from around here. And yeah, it was just with the concept we had in mind, it definitely fit with how his style went. And yeah, definitely a good landscape throughout the whole thing, and the whole idea was just kind of inspired by the Italian horror movie The Beyond, Lucio Fulci.
Yeah. I mean, it was that sense of, you know, we had a few different titles for the album, you know, and it just fit because that, you know, Fulci's like one of my favorite Italian. I mean, I love Italian horror, and you know, that end scene of The Beyond is like, just like it's like the epitome of fucking dread. You know, they're fucking, you know, they're in the beyond. They don't, you know,
they're in like a whole sense of fucking.
It was so hopeless and just, you know,
gloom and decay.
And he, you know, Wano fucking captured that, you know, that end scene. He captured. I mean, a little different than it, you know, because he had the figure in the background, you know, but you know, it's still people know that we're horror junkies, so you know, I mean, they could see that right away. That's our homage to it, right? You know? And he captured it great.
Yeah, he knocked it out of the park.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet cover.
Thank you.
So you guys connected this time with the ever brutal Memento Mori record label for this. How'd that all come about?
Well, I've known Raul at Memento Mori for handful of years. I've done some trades with him, and I also get a bunch of his releases for my distro that I do on the side. And I figure, you know what, since we were shopping at the time for this album with our promo, he was definitely one of the guys I had in mind. I figure, hey, Raul, what would you say, would you be interested in wanting to hear some new shit for this new album? And he's like, send some new tracks my way. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing. And, you know, and we were just talking, and lots of talks came about. He's really interested. We liked what he gave us as far as an offer was concerned. And plus, we've talked to other bands that we're friends with that have worked with him before. And, you know, he's definitely been on the up and up as far as how he runs his label. And, you know, it was just like, you know what? You know, one thing turned into another, and then lo and behold, you know, with a parallel dimension of despair is now on Memento Mori.
Awesome. You want to shout out your distro real quick? How can we find your distro?
My distro, it's called Death Dealer Distro. You can find me on Facebook. I mean, I do a lot of promotion on my personal Facebook page, but yeah, it's facebook.com/Death Dealer Distro. Okay. I sell a lot of cool, like, CDs, vinyl, and I'm starting to sell cassettes too, and just all three of those physical formats. And just, it's mostly underground stuff, but I try not to just carry just solely death metal or anything, but, you know, try and have a little bit of everything in there.
And he ships fast and he packs good, too.
That's important.
I've heard things.
Yeah.
But see, it's easy because I'm in his band, so, you know. Hey, you got this? Bring it over to the house, because we play at my house. So.
Always arrives there safe, doesn't it?
Yes, it arrives safely that way. I don't know how it wouldn't arrive safely if, you know, unless I'm, you know, hey!
Right, just start chucking them.
Yeah.
And I'll just throw out there to all the fans, you know, this is the kind of thing we need to support as metal fans, you know, this underground kind of distro and underground bands.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
This is what metal's about. So this is your 6th full length, start of your 3rd decade as a band, by my count anyway.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me about how the band's sound has evolved over those years?
Band sound has evolved. Well, there's definitely been, you know, other different parts of, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the only thing that hasn't really changed as of lately. I mean, or at least over the time when I started, it was just, you know, when I started wanting to do Cardiac Arrest, all I wanted to do really was just, you know, play the heaviest fucking music around, at least in my eyes, just death fucking metal, you know? And, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, I think now I have, the only thing that's mainly changed was, okay, the approach in how I do it, maybe, you know, don't have as naive as an outlook on it as maybe when I was maybe 16 years old. But, you know, it's just, you know, with maturity comes with age, especially with playing and with shit like that.
Okay.
So.
And I've been in bands since 89, 90. So I'm like the old guy. And, you know, I grew up on a lot of, like, punk stuff and hardcore, you know, any kind of extreme music. So, you know, when I joined, I kind of brought in a little bit of a kind of a punk feel on the way I write, you know.
Definitely.
Which is something that they didn't have before. So it was like, it was kind of a cool meld of things. Like I said, I'm just kind of one of those just cavemen kind of guys. I don't care if I could, you know, Adam plays rings around me guitar-wise, you know, but I'm just one of those, hey, I'll bring riffs in and certain feel, and we can use it or not, you know. Right. But I'm not like a shredder. I'm not a, you know, technical player. If I can't headbang during a riff, then I don't want that riff.
Fair enough. What's next in terms of touring and even future music?
Well, we got Not too sure as far as any other shows around, like, say, like regional or anything, but in September we're going to be going over to Europe again for the second time.
Awesome.
This time it's going to be like 6 days, including a appearance over at in Wermelskirchen, Germany for the NRW Death Fest out there. We're going to be like Demlich's headlining the night we're playing, and then we're fucking doing another festival out in, the fuck is it called? It's called Tattoo Fest out in Niverdal, the Netherlands.
Okay.
And yeah, that's just 2 of the 6 days we'll be doing out there. We're going to Lyon, France, Milan, Italy, Switzerland.
Demlich's playing with us in Milan too.
Yes. So that's another double awesome thing there too. So gonna be following those guys around at least a couple times. So
Very cool.
but yeah, it's gonna be a cool fucking. Should be another cool fucking time out there, I think.
Awesome. Right on. Final question, any last words? Anything I missed that's important?
Support the underground. You know, there's a lot of good bands out there that you know people don't get to hear or
that
whatever.
are worthy of your support.
Yeah, it's you know, it's always been about money, and there's certain websites and labels and whatever that have that money to get those full page ads in magazines, and you know, if you're you're not on those full page ads, nobody seems to give a fuck.
Apparently.
Right. Fair enough. All right, guys. Thanks.
All right.
Much.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you for the interview.